Jim, guys. We had a technical failure there a second ago, but we have an interview with Ben Newman today. Ben Newman is, what do you call it, a mental conditioning coach?
Performance coach, mental conditioning
Yeah.
coach, what Alabama calls me. Yeah.
Yeah. So two number one ranked teams, armed forces, big businesses. Like you've spoken and written quite a bit and really have a very good message I think a lot of people need to hear, and that's why we wanted you to come on the show. Can you introduce yourself just a little bit as we before we get into it?
Yeah. So, for each and every single one of the listeners, it's easy to highlight, the things that people want to hear. But I think the reality is my opportunity to be with all of you is a direct result of challenge and adversity that I've overcome in my life. I've been tremendously blessed to have mentors and coaches who were there to pick me up off the mat of life on the days that I didn't want to do it. And that's really what I attribute success to. And I really look at success as the opportunity to get back up one more time than you've been knocked down. So we've been in some fun settings and been able to work with some championship teams and some champions in business. But the reality is it's just continuing to fight through life and write your story that's most important.
Yeah. And as you just said it right there, like, is that kind of how you view coaching, is getting someone to do what they don't want to do when they don't want to do it?
Well, it's not getting somebody to do what they don't want to do. I think the most important thing for a coach is you have to identify first what's in somebody's heart. And once we can identify what's in somebody's heart, then we understand their why, right? It's not me getting somebody to do something or seeing if I can get them to do something. It's understanding what's important to them. Yeah. Once I understand somebody's heart, it's understanding, what do you think about? What's your vision? What is it that you actually want for your future? And then once we connect the heart and once we connect the head, they're going to want to give the body if it's physical. They're going to want to give all of themselves to their goals if it's something related to business. So I think identifying the heart and purpose and your why is going to drive the motivation without me having to tell you what to do. I think naturally people know what you need to do, right? So if there's somebody, watching that's an athlete, you know what you need to do. We just need to figure out what's going to inspire you to do it more often. If you're a business owner, you know what you need to do. We just need to figure out, where do you want to go, what drives you, and are you actually doing the things you need to do consistently enough?
Yeah. And how much of that, like, do you end up going over with guys or with your athletes and with your in anybody that you're working with, just the idea of consistency?
Oh, it's every day. I've got one of my first business coaching clients. We've worked together for over 8 years, and I started speaking in 2006, started coaching in 2008. First book came out in 08. So I've been at this for a long time. A lot of times people say, man, I want to start speaking, and that's great, but it takes time, whether you're a speaker, whether you're opening a gym, whether you're opening a business, it takes time. And I constantly talk about consistency. We have one of our mental training tools, which everybody can check them out. I'll give away for free for all the listeners as a gift for you having me on. If everybody goes to freeplaybook.net, it's our platform. It's your mental toughness playbook, all our coaching principles, all the tools. And one of the tools is called Your Prize Fighter Day, which is how you drive consistency in your life, personally, professionally, and in your service to others. And I talk about that with people all the time. This first client I just alluded to, I've been coaching him for 8 years. He's like, I've probably heard you say Prize Fighter Day 3,000-4,000 times. It drives me crazy. But he's like, I know that's what I need. It's the accountability to the consistency of driving, of discipline.
Yeah. Because I mean, you're going to have to go past the point where you were bored. Like I've heard it 4,000 times. I'm tired of it. I don't need to do that anymore. It's like, no, you need to do that one more time, and then again, and then again, right?
And that's the point. And that's one of the things that drew me to connecting with you was grit. That word grit, and grit is an important thing. People, they want the easy way. They naturally, I don't want to face adversity. I don't want to face challenge. Can't this be easy? But the reality is, we can't allow our feelings to dictate how we show up. You have
100%.
You have to identify what is the standard, what is the process that's going to cause you to have success, and then have the perseverance, the conviction, and the grit to pound away at it one day at a time, focusing on winning based upon your effort, not your results. And that takes grit, and you got to do it over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. Well beyond when it's like you're excited, like Correct. Well beyond like when you're motivated, well beyond before, like when you feel good. But and that was one of the things I wanted to ask you is just, not as much what or why you started doing this, but like almost like even like a how in the world have you built up to, because I think
Well,
that's an easy thing to leave out. It's like everybody's like, find your why. It's like, yeah, that's great and all, but like, man, like you've done some cool stuff.
well, I appreciate you saying that. I think we all face challenge and adversity. We all have a story, so I can share
Yeah,
some things about my story that hopefully connect you to deeper purpose and passion for yours. But I'm an old soul, so I mentioned
yeah.
those mentors and coaches. I had to grow up fast. My mother passed away 11 days before my 8th birthday. Parents were divorced
Jeez.
before I was 6 months old. Never knew my parents together. So for me, life has been this fight. It's been this battle, and my mom is the most inspirational person I've ever met, greatest champion of life. Even though she came to a dinner table with an IV stand her last year living, my mother taught me what it means to fight. She taught me what it means to have purpose. She taught me what it means to have conviction. My mother taught me the greatest life lesson I've ever learned. It's not how long you live, it's how you choose to live your life.
Yeah.
And it's been tough for me. You lose your mom 11 days before your 8th birthday. That's not easy.
No.
But I had a choice to surround myself with the mentors and coaches that would pick me up. I had a father who came in, he had his own set of challenges, drugs and alcohol abuse. And so, what I've seen with these two eyes before 8 years old is more than some people see in a lifetime.
Yeah.
But how we respond to challenge and adversity determines the story that we write. And thank God I had a positive mom who taught me, even though she was passing away, it's a choice to be positive. It's a choice how you respond. And you're writing your story. You got to grab that pen and keep fighting, even on the days you don't want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. What about the people out there that aren't totally on board with the free the that you have free choice, that like there's circumstances that are out of your control?
Well, I think there's a tremendous amount that's out of our control, and that's where you
Yeah.
have to focus what's on your control. I mean,
Yeah.
naturally, what's the easy thing to say? This is what I want, right? My
Mhm.
goal is to have a company doing X amount of dollars of revenue, and naturally, we want to just wake up and you look in your checkbook, and there's all the money that you needed, and the revenue's coming in, and people are buying what you're selling. But
Yeah.
that's not success. It's not supposed to be easy. If it was
Yeah.
easy, then everybody would be doing it. And the reality is it's not choosing the results, it's choosing the behavior on a daily basis that drives results.
Yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned being patient. How about like I've heard you and Andy talk about, like, I don't know what word you guys use, but I almost call it like an eager patience. Like you have to have that patience, but you also don't want to be complacent day to day either.
Well, I think it's remaining connected to your purpose and having that drive, right? Having that grit
Yeah.
to just do it over and over and over
Yeah.
again. Andy often refers to it as aggressive patience, right? I think is what he
Yeah.
uses.
That's what I was going for. Yes. Thank you.
Aggressive patience, and so it's being patient, but you got to attack every single day. So
Yeah.
one of the things I've always shared with whether it's a football team or whether it's a business is you have to attack the process every day. It's winning one day at a time. My biggest goal for any of you listeners is to connect on a deeper level to what your purpose is, not the purpose somebody else wants for you. And
Yeah.
once you identify that purpose, identify the daily disciplines that'll cause you to have success, and just fight every day with everything that you've got to look in the mirror at the end of the day and say, today I gave it everything that I had.
Yeah.
Because if you can look in the mirror and say, today I gave it everything that I had, nobody can ever take that away from you, and you can never ask any more of yourself than that.
Yeah, yeah, that's I couldn't agree more, because like what else could there possibly be? And that's not like it almost sounds like it's your, like, you got to do your best, but like it's not your uh like your best, that like your mom pat you on, like the mom patting the kid on the back being like, oh, you did your best, honey, to make you feel better. It's the best, like the absolute gut wrenching best that you possibly have, I think. Is
It,
that
Correct. And that's between you and you, right? Adam, you got
right?
to look in the mirror at the end of the day. You know what that is. And if you're
Yeah.
lying to yourself, you know that you're lying, and you're the one who has to live with the consequences of what you
Yep.
tell yourself.
Yeah.
And I just encourage everybody to surround yourself with people who believe in you, people who encourage you, people who inspire you.
Yeah.
Look at the world that we live in today. Yes, it is not cheap for me to work with somebody one on one for coaching, but you can certainly go to my Instagram page. I mean, I have literally posted every single day since I signed up for Instagram, I don't know how many years ago, right? So either it's one time a day or two times per day. I'm
Yeah.
putting things out that are going to help you mentally on what you think
Yeah.
about and what's in your heart. And, for everybody, you've got to find what motivates you. You've got to find what drives you. You've got to find what causes you to get
Yeah.
truthful with yourself about where you want to go and a willingness to get after it every day.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's easy for people to get aligned with people who are enablers too, instead of people who will kick them the real deal. Like some people seem positive, but they're just enabling a bad behavior. Whereas like
Oh, without question. You know, what I
Yeah.
mean, a coaching type relationship should be somebody who challenges you
Right.
and pushes you to be your best. I've
Yeah.
had a paid coach since I was 25 years old. My coach, Laura Pierce, she pushes and challenges me all the time.
Yeah.
We just went over the business plan for 2019, and
That's awesome.
she's drilling down and she's pushing me and she's getting after me, and she's, we got to look at this area, we got to look at this area, and is this going to be the right action step in order to drive results in this area? I
Yeah.
mean, it's a constant work in progress. You have to be challenged. You have to have
Yeah.
somebody driving that true accountability.
Yeah. But yeah, because like if you don't, what's the alternative?
Well, the alternative is you're not going to like where you are, and
Yeah.
you're going to certainly be happier where you are if you're working hard rather than just praying that things are going to happen for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing with like being uncomfortable or having pressure put on you. It's like the alternative is to be comfortable and in this space that like it isn't all that fun to be in. Like whereas like you were gonna feel uncomfortable one way or the other, like
Yeah,
whether that pressure was there or not.
one of my mentors, former coaches, dear friend, Dr. Jason Selk, he always says, making yourself uncomfortable speeds up the process of mental toughness.
Yeah, yeah, couldn't agree more. Yeah, just like I think it's an amazing thing, like how much our mind can actually drive us to do, and how much we leave left on the table that we didn't even know as an option.
Correct.
Yeah, when you really tap into being like I call it all in. When you really tap into being all in, man, you can do some pretty crazy stuff.
But one of the reasons why I often see or identify that people have not gone all in is because there's something holding them back.
Yeah,
So for all of us, I say there's like this, for some of us, it's a tiny little black box. For some of us, it's this enormous black box. And there's something in that black box. And we got to get inside that black box. We got to tear it apart because there's
yeah,
fear, there's doubt, there's uncertainty. Something holding all of us back. I've got stuff that holds me back. I work on it with my coach, right? Thank goodness some of the things holding me back today are more of that tiny little box rather than some of the big boxes I've had
yeah,
to rip open in my life. But if you don't address those fears, those doubts, and uncertainties, I don't know if you can go all in.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's the story of geez, King Arthur. Like all of his knights, they went off into different directions into the forest. Like they all went to the darkest part of the forest, but the darkest part of the forest was different for all of them.
Hmm.
Like,
Right.
yeah. Anyway, like that's I've always liked that story. Like it's kind of like what's her name, Gray, the lighthouse. Like the lighthouse represents everybody's fears. But and you mentioned anyway. So like I wanted to ask you a few questions on words, like how you view motivation. Like, is it a real thing? Is it something tangible, or how do you look at that with the people that you work with?
So, yeah, motivation is certainly a real thing, right? I mean, everybody is going to, how you're wired in your heart. If you've got a really good coach, or think of a great coach you've had or a business leader in the past, they know how to motivate you, they know how to tap into that energy. But the key is not motivation. The key is long term sustainability and growth from being inspired to want to take action every single day. Motivation only lasts so long. But
Yeah,
if you have somebody that you're working with and partnering with that actually helps you connect to that purpose every single day, drive towards that purpose, or if you're disciplined enough to do it on your own, that goes much further than just motivation.
yeah. That's how we look at it too. That's why we put "do it anyway" on T-shirts, on up on the walls, stuff like that. Because it's like, what are you going to do on a day where you don't have it?
Yep. Well,
You're just going
those
to
are
have to do it
actually
anyway.
those are actually the days. I mean, look at it from a workout perspective, right? So the
Sure.
days that you wake up and you don't want to work out, and you silence that mental demon, right? And you put that demon to sleep, and you go through your workout. Those workouts are far better than the ones where you pop up out of bed and say, "Man, I can't wait to go
Yeah.
get it today."
Yeah, because it was easy. Well, it was easy one way. It was hard the other way. Like
Right.
you were confronting that black box that you talked
Correct.
about, right? Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. So when we get into like, what about when we get into confidence? Do you think like how do you look at this thing?
Well, I think confidence is going to be built on stacking those days on top of each other, right? So
Sure.
people want to be more confident. So where does confidence comes from? Confidence comes from your ability or belief that you can do something, right? So if you
Okay.
if you look at this workout and you say, "Gosh, I can't do that workout," right? It's a belief thing. But if
Yeah.
you believe you can do it, it doesn't mean that, Adam, I'm going to do it as well as you right now. But the last
Yeah.
time I checked, I'm not competing against you. I'm competing against myself. So we all got to start somewhere.
Right.
So I think building your confidence from wherever you are is far greater than just saying I can't do something.
Yeah.
Right. So for all of us, it's where is your belief, attaining that new level of belief, figuring out what your starting point is, and then just hammering it. And
Yeah.
having a great strength coach that it can actually get you to that next level if we're talking about what you're doing in the gym.
Right. Yeah. Like that's the thing with we hear this on a pretty regular basis. People like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to start a workout plan. I'm not ready to join a gym. I'm not ready. It's like, what do you mean you're not ready? Like, what does that mean? Like, what's that mean to you? So I think that's kind of the same thing. Like they haven't stacked up enough things to actually put their head on right to actually get where they want to go.
Yeah, so from a business perspective, I'll share something. There's a one of the fathers of sociology. His name is Max Weber, so it's spelled like Weber, Weber, and he always talks about the difference of power versus authority. So
Okay.
if I were engaging with somebody one on one who says I'm not ready, right? I would engage that person in a question, right?
Yeah.
So my natural tendency in a coach would be, "What are you talking about? You're not ready. That's crazy. Get in here and let's get after it."
Yeah.
Find that doesn't work, even if that was the gospel or that was the truth or what they
Yeah.
needed to hear. So I prefer to ask a question. So if you're in a business setting and you're frustrated with somebody who's not responding, or it's a new employee who's not wanting to take action, or it's you're coaching somebody and it's an athlete, ask them a
Yeah.
question. Find out a way to make it an action. What's causing you to not be ready?
Yeah.
What needs to happen in your life for you to feel like I'm ready to get after it? Because I want to understand how you're wired, because we got to figure out what you want. So what is it that you want? What action do you want to take?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think like I usually call it the Socratic method, but yeah, I just like couldn't agree more. It's if you get people thinking logically, it usually works out a little bit better. Like, what do you mean you're not ready?
Right.
Like, I wouldn't say those words, but a different way around it. Like if we were sitting, what is the one I use? When we're sitting here, like something about like 12 months from now, 12 months from now, when we're sitting here, what do you want this to look like?
Yep.
That kind of thing. And so like when it comes to focus, like, what do you think some of the things that like that black box, what do you think of some similarities that most people, or some similar things that you notice that people are walking around with that maybe they're a little afraid to confront?
Well, I mean, that's the number of people that I'm coaching with, from football teams to basketball teams to businesses. It's vastly, vastly different. I mean, I could give you
Is it?
example after example, but I think the reality is, it's not. Once again, it's not worrying about what somebody else's issue is. We all know what the issues are. It's
Mm-hmm.
finding the person that you trust, that you can have that conversation with, right? So whether
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
something happened, God forbid, when I was a child, and my dad did this, or my dad used to say that, or you know what, I got cut from the baseball team when I was a sophomore and this coach just beat me down, and it's just,
Yeah.
I'm just continuing to live with it, even if it might be something you think sounds insignificant. That's your emotion, and there's a
Yeah.
reason why you're not taking action based upon that emotion.
Yeah. Well, and if it's still at the top of their mind, like if they're still thinking about it, then it's got to be, it must be a thing. It's top of mind awareness, right? Oh no, we froze up. Are you there?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But like top of mind awareness is like if it's on the tip of your tongue, if you're about to say it, then obviously it's still affecting you. Otherwise, it wouldn't be there.
Yep.
Yeah. So it has to be a thing, and like I think you're right. Like having that conversation can make a world of difference. Um, like I don't know. Like I don't know if you ever noticed this, but I think people tend to work out what they're thinking by actually talking. Do you notice that, or is that something you found?
Well, I think to engage in conversation and communication with somebody that you trust is going to lead you. Obviously the goal is to lead somebody to action, right? If there's something
Yeah.
holding you back, we got to lead you to action, and talking yourself through that fear is typically going to lead you to action. It's going to build that confidence. We're going to identify what the motivation is. We're going to identify what's in your heart, but you got to be open and truthful about a willingness to want to have that relationship to drive action.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, what could you get out of it? I mean, you're just wasting time. But
Yeah.
and you said that they're like the similarities are great, but like that there are differences between individuals. Like, are there certain things that you notice that the mindset of a first time mom that a mindset of a NFL rookie would have in common?
Well, I mean, those are two individuals that are experiencing, different things, but I think both of them have the opportunity to identify what's going to make you a great mom and what's going to make you a great NFL athlete, right?
Yeah.
So, whether it's that first time doing it, right? I'm a first time rookie, I'm a first time parent. I've never had a problem checking my ego. So I want to go find somebody that's a great mom, and what does that great mom do? I want to go find somebody who's
I
a great
gotcha.
dad. What does that great dad do? What did the most successful NFL rookies do, right? What did Jerry Rice do when he
Yeah.
was a rookie? I want to study the behaviors of the most successful. When Jerry Rice and I shared the stage 2 years ago at one of Vegas, I'll never forget when right before Jerry and I went on stage, Jerry looks at me dead square in the eyes and he says, "Ben," he goes, "you know what I've never understood? How could somebody not give 100% when it's 100% your choice?"
Yeah.
So I think whether it's a mom, whether it's a parent, whether it's a business owner, whether it's an NFL athlete, whether it's an NBA player, identifying what does it look like for me to give my best and showing up and doing it every day, because it is 100% your choice.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. Like if there are things that are out of your control and there are things that are in control, why wouldn't you take advantage of every single aspect of what is in your control?
And not fight it, but pay attention to those
Right.
activities that are 100% in your control. If I walk into your gym and you say, "Ben, today we need 5 really good sets of 10 on bench," right? That's 100% in my control to give you 5 sets of 10. If you take me to exhaustion and I only get 9 on the last one, you're going to be there to spot me to make sure that at least I push that bar through 10, no matter how painful it is. That's a choice for me to hang in and do that.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. We're freezing up. We're on something good.
Today. Can we go 3 sets of 5?
We broke out there. Sorry, I lost you.
Oh, I was going to say, I would never walk into your gym and say, "How about 3 sets of 5?" Right? I mean, you're not going to do that, right? You got to show up and you got to do what you need to do every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Yeah. It's and sometimes there is a time when you have to like let's say, and this goes back to personal choice though too, is like if you just went on a bender the night before and you show up hungover, we don't get to just plow through and treat the body like crap. But at the same time, you made the personal choice to go out on a bender. So
there you go.
So we can stack them up there. But and then like, how do I ask this question? So when you get into the anxiety, like a lot of people have a lot of anxiety problems. Do you like, how do you view that, and how do you scope that back to a place where it's manageable for them to move forward?
It froze up. I didn't hear the question.
Oh, okay. So with it, when it comes to anxiety, a lot of people are dealing with this. How do you scale that back to where they can look at it from a logical standpoint and manage it so that they can keep on pressing forward?
So there's 2 things. One is a complex tool called Your Emotional Trigger, which is probably the most significant ideal state of focus technique that we use in our coaching work. I use this with the Alabama football program, North Dakota State. I use it with executives at Microsoft, and it's in the playbook. So if everybody downloads that playbook, once again, I'm giving it to you as a gift at freeplaybook.net. It's towards the back, maybe page 27, 28, but Your Emotional Trigger is right there. You go deep. You learn to understand your ideal state of focus. In either method is just breathing, right? You have to learn to control your breathing, because your breathing can calm you down. And same thing, my dear friend, and a lot of my work in sports was driven by a lot that I learned from Dr. Jason Selk. He's one of the top sports psychologists in the world. So it's controlled breathing. There's a breathing sequence of 6-2-7. You breathe in for 6 seconds, you hold for 2, you exhale for 7. And when you do that, you find that all you're focused on is your breathing. You're limiting the focus on what's causing the stress or the fear, and it actually physiologically reduces your blood pressure and makes you more relaxed.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah. It's crazy how profound that really is. And so like that can apply to anything, right? I mean, like large crowds, public speaking. I mean, before the game, any kind of thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So how many? So they do 6 in, 2 hold, 7 out,
and then 7 out.
Yeah. For how many reps of that do they end up doing?
You do it for one rep should be enough. I mean, it's going to get you to an ideal state of focus. It's going to prevent you from because all you're going to be doing is focused on the breathing. You're not going to be focused on what's causing the stress, and then it's actually going to reduce blood pressure.
Nice. I like that. Well, cool. Well, we're coming up on time. Is there, before we get off, I really want to make sure that they get, can you say that again, where they can go to get that, the playbook?
Yeah, so if everybody goes to freeplaybook.net, that's where you can get a copy of Your Mental Toughness Playbook. It has the 6 proven mental training tools that we've used in sports and in business, and it literally, you can get the book for free. We actually do sell it online, where our academy is. If you want to learn more about the academy, where there's access to videos with me and Tyron Woodley, the UFC champ who I've worked with, dear friend of mine, with Jerry Rice, you can go to bennewman.net/join. But to get the playbook, you can go to freeplaybook.net. And everybody stay connected on social media at Continued Fight, and just appreciate the opportunity to be connected with all of you.
Yeah, awesome. And it's at Continued Fight on Instagram?
At Continued Fight is Instagram and Twitter.
Awesome. And I follow them too. So like, if anybody, you could go over to the people that I follow, and I'm sure it's in there. I don't think I follow so many people that you wouldn't be able to find Ben in there. But Ben, thanks for doing this. I know that you're a busy guy, and you're way more big time than I am. So I really appreciate it.
I always appreciate the opportunity to share my story, and everybody stay connected to your story. And remember to rise up one more time than you've been knocked down, and keep fighting a good fight.
Couldn't agree more. All right, that's a perfect place to stop. Thank you very much. Everybody, please like, comment, share down below. Send this out. A lot of people need to hear what Ben has to say. So thank you very much, Ben. We'll
Thank you.
see everybody soon.
Take care. Thanks.